Welcome back to another episode of Out of the Blank. It's a long-awaited podcast. The man is back after a year. Where have you gone? Where have you been? Did you have any kids? No.
No, none that I know of. But who's to say? Who's to say? It's just been a long year of everything. Been a long year.
If you think about it, that's not a dumb question to ask if you had kids, not only because you're in a relationship, but also a concept of you can just adopt. I
Yeah.
thought about it when I was a kid, adopting someone that was older than me. So I was like, well, he could take care of me. He could sign the leases. He could buy me a car. He could teach me how to drive, hopefully teach me how to drive before he buys me a car.
Yeah. I mean, and also, what if they become like a pro athlete, and then now you're rich too?
Can you, dude? Okay, so it's like adopting a star, but adopting a pro athlete.
Yep.
Pick one. Who would you pick, sports wise?
Oh man, who has the longest career? That's what I want to know. Who has the longest sports careers? It's not football.
Is Michael Jordan still a thing?
I mean, yeah, I guess it might be basketball. I would probably adopt a basketball star.
I don't know if I could handle Michael Jordan's abuse though. Like, imagine if you were his dad, like adopted dad, and he'd just be like, "You want to bet on this game?" It's like, no, and then he beats you. Like the best part about having kids, I think, besides like taking them trick or treating, is like the whole entire point to have kids is like you get to go get free candy. But if you think about it, you could just buy candy as well too. But if you had Michael Jordan and you adopted him, then like the whole point is like you can beat your kids at games whenever your kid's like, I could run faster than you. You're like, okay, let me give you
Nope.
full speed real quick. And then you show him up. But then if you have Michael Jordan, he's like beating you at everything. You're like, oh my God, my kid is way better than me.
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to have a kid that just way outdoes you and you're like, yeah, there you go. I raised that.
I give the parents that have a kid who's exceptionally more talented than the actual parent more credit to not freaking smother their kids. Like that when I was in school, there was a kid that was 7'2", and he was put on the football team, and he was like 16 years old. Like you're not going against the guy who's 7'2" at 16 years old. Everyone else is like 4'8", maybe 5 foot. And I'm like, his dad was like 6 foot. So I was like, imagine that your kid's 15, 16 years old. He's a foot taller than you. He's going to be probably a football star. And it turns out the kid didn't even go into football. He just ended up, I think he played basketball in college and then he stopped and now he's making mixtapes.
Huh. Yeah, that's the other thing. You can't choose what your kid decides to do for a living. And man, if he would have gone into basketball early and gotten good, 7'2's something to look at, whenever you've got a team like that, be great.
Well, it's like, would you rather be famous or would you rather want your kid to have all the fame?
Oh man, I go back and forth with that because I don't want it, but I mean, I kind of do want all the perks that fame comes with. But like, look at Drake and what he did with his dad. Like, basically gave him a bunch of stuff because he wasn't famous. So maybe my kid would take care of me better if he was famous.
So
I'll
you
just be a member of the posse.
So you can look at this in two ways. One, you can sit there and be like, I'd rather be famous and have my kid get all my spoils because then I take all the abuse and all the horribleness of fame. And then my
Yep.
kid gets just to enjoy the luxuries. Or you could be like, I want my kid to go through that, but then hey, I get to be that guy's dad. And it's like, I don't know. That's a sketchy one because if you look at every Disney star that's ever came out of it, they're not doing so good now.
Like free Britney all over again.
Um, I saw Miley Cyrus read off one of those reward or awards. I think it was like some type of music award, and she was saying everybody's name like Justin Bieber. I love your comb over, and went over to like uh whoever makes the song "Blinded by the Lights." Who is that?
No, the weekend.
Yeah, it says The Weekend. Glad to see you here. Then she goes ASAP Rocker, and it's ASAP Rocky, and you
Rocky.
just see him mouth this mother like he doesn't have to cuss it out, and the camera switched off of it.
Yep. ASAP Rocker. I looked and I couldn't find any songs by ASAP Rocker.
I just saw a documentary with him recently about psychedelics, and he was talking about his first trip. And it's interesting because I like looking like there's a YouTube series where it's like a guy who does like speech, or is it like it's like speech pathology or something, where he's able to tell like mannerisms and the way that people talk. And he was dissecting like important videos. One was Bill Clinton talking about Epstein. And it's just crazy because like he was getting asked a list of questions. And he was like, did you notice that he didn't answer any of these questions? And she was like, what was your relationship with Epstein? He was like, well, I went to these dinners and then, the dinners were nice, but I regret meeting them. And he's always like looking all over the room. He goes, he did all three of the things throughout this whole entire interview, all on that one questions, which means he's hiding something. And I'm like, I love this, man. I love it to tell. Like when you look at like, you see the documentary, Epstein's holding his jaw because he's trying to make sure he doesn't flinch when someone asks him a question. And I'm like, yo, it's like, makes me want to analyze people in my everyday life. Like, am I adopted? And just stare at your parents like, oh, wait for you.
Yeah, like, am I giving the right answer? I love those speeches where they say something and they look at their aides like, I said that right? I'm not going to get in trouble.
I think that's what I really enjoy about the Norm Macdonald show on Netflix, was that it's like he would joke around like with David Spade and be like, we're going to go right to this break real quick. And he goes, what do you mean break? It's Netflix. We don't need to take a break. There's no commercial ads. He goes, yo, we have to take a break. And he goes, but tell me that catfish story you had. Then he would go into a story for like 10, 15 minutes. And then he'd be like, middle of the dude's story, David's story, go, and we're back. He goes, now tell me about that story you were telling me off air. He goes, what are you talking about? We didn't go anywhere. And he goes, yeah, we did. We went to break. He goes, then why the hell were we talking at all? And it was like a joke, but it was like that back and forth camaraderie where I'm like, I like to see that. Like that, you hear so many stories like on SNL. There's so many stories about like Tracy Morgan and Jimmy Fallon. They hated each other, but then you see like an interview 5 years, 10 years later where they're like being friendly to each other. But now that they told you they hated each other, you see it now. Like, nice to see you, Jimmy. Nice to see you, Tracy. Nice to see you, Jimmy. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me. It's like very, very like professional. I'm like, oh, that's cool that you guys, you hide it off screen, but I rather know what your guys' relationship is instead of people forcing you to be in movies where you necessarily don't want to like that person.
Yeah, it's kind of like that relationship between Gordon Ramsay and Jamie Oliver. They hate each other, but when they're on like the same interview shows, they're like, good to see you. Yeah, good to see you too. But they're looking at each other like, fucking hate you.
Well, that's why there's not a Roxbury too. The guys from Will
Yeah.
Ferrell and those guys don't like each other.
Huh. Yeah. I would hate to have to be in a close situation with people I don't like. I mean, I've had to do it obviously, but just that tension too, where you're like, I'm going to be friendly. You're going to be friendly. Let's fake it for the next hour,
Do you think that's a factor of two people that might have like a small little conflict? It doesn't mean anything, or do you think it's two people with two completely different mindsets with their abilities? Because like you got a Will Ferrell
Yeah.
type that's funny, but I don't picture Will Ferrell being a real asshole. Real Will Ferrell just seems like he can be a comedic one.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's mindset. Even, look at personal life with people you don't like. A lot of times it's you're two different types of people. And yeah, you should always accept and like be friends with people that aren't identical to you. But sometimes those mindsets just don't mesh well. So it's like I really don't like you. But there's no reason why I don't like you. I'm just gonna try to be friendly.
Well, then it brings into the bigger question of like, does is it the bad situation that's good for the person, or is it the bad person's attitude that's good for the situation? Like there's Michael Jordan. He's been known to be an asshole, but
You know?
he's really good at what he does. And a lot of people don't care about his personality because he's so good at what he does. But then you have Mike Tyson, who has had a bad, like horrible childhood and just basically had nothing until his coach picked him up and he became one of the best people at the things that he does. So it's like you necessarily don't want to curse someone to a life of pain and homelessness. But at the same time, if it creates a fucking Mike Tyson, you're like, damn, man, my kid's going to have to take one for the team.
Yeah, and then just be the greatest boxer, other than Muhammad Ali. But
Debatable.
Debatable. We'll never know. We'll never know.
I mean, like Logan Paul, good childhood. Yeah. Fucking YouTube star. Yeah. Fucking fighting pro fighters. Yeah. He just challenged Mike Tyson recently. So I'm like, I want to see it. I know it's gonna suck
Yeah.
for him, but I mean, I ever since I saw the Floyd Mayweather fight, I just got 1,000 times more respect because he got up on stage. He goes, "There's no way in hell that this isn't a simulation." The fact that a YouTube star can fight like a professional boxer who's undefeated, and I'm like, he makes perfect sense to my simulation theory.
But do you think that not choreographed, but they're going to be like, look, well, Floyd Mayweather, don't beat the shit out of Jake Paul. And he's like, okay, fine, because it's exhibition. I'm not really trying to take this kid's head off. I think part of it is the outcome is already known. I think so.
You think it was staged?
Not the moves or what they're gonna do. I think it's like, look, guys, don't hurt someone. Like, also, what if Jake Paul would have beat the hell out of him, and then it would have been like you would have questioned everything Floyd Mayweather ever did, and then if Floyd Mayweather beats the hell out of that kid, it's like, dude, you're a professional fighter. You really had to do him like that. So I think they knew it was going to be a draw. It's kind of like Mike Tyson going in there. You really don't want Mike Tyson going full power on you.
I just want to see him. I told Mike Tyson on Twitter if he did my show, I'd let him punch me in the face as hard as possible.
For legal reasons, he will not be able to do that.
I will take it for the team. I won't sue. I'm not that type of person. He accepted the verbal agreement of my tweet saying just come on to my show. But I think with the Floyd Mayweather thing, I think it was a difference too, is that if you really look at the concept of it's a guy who has everything to lose if it goes bad, and he really
Yep.
doesn't have a whole lot to gain, like $100 million or whatever it is, that's nothing to Floyd. That's like something he
No.
would spend on a hat or a t-shirt. But if and I also think with Logan Paul, for instance, him just getting hit a couple of times, I think it rocked him to where it was like, okay, I got to take it easy. They both were hugging each other a lot of the time, kind of holding on to each other, like because they were gassed out. And I'm like, this is where the conspiracy stuff starts to boil in, and I'm all in on it.
Yeah, because it was like, how is Floyd Mayweather gassed that easy? Because you see him in a lot of his fights, and he lasts a lot longer. But he looked a little too gassed. Then again, maybe he didn't do a really good training camp because he was just fighting some YouTube kid. You know,
Yeah, but does the
he,
training camp just give you the ability for that fight? I mean, if you really look at like he's got 60 something matches or 50 something matches under his belt.
true, but for metabolic conditioning, if he ran a real training camp where they were putting him through it to get his gas tank level up, maybe, I don't know.
Kind of like when you're sitting on the couch for like a month straight, and then you start realizing, oh, I'm gonna go for a run. You realize like a quarter of the way into the run you used to do, you're like, okay, I don't have the energy to be able to do that anymore.
Yep, or the lung capacity.
Yeah, I tried testing that recently. I was like, I've been vaping for like a couple of years now. I was like, let's see if I can hold my. I used to hold my lungs for like my breath with my lungs for like a minute and a half, minute 45. And I went to test it recently. I made it like 30 seconds. I'm like, fuck.
Yep, same. I went for a run the other day, and it was like the loop around this lake we run. It's a small lake. One loop is about a quarter of a mile, and I ran it the quarter of a mile, and I'm like, I used to run this thing like 12, 13 times, this loop. I made it one time barely. Like at the end of that one loop, I'm coughing up, that metallic taste. It was terrible.
Metallic taste. That's always the worst. It's blood. Um,
Yep.
it's crazy when you start realizing things that you used to be able to do compared to what you can do now. Like I'm in my 20s, early 20s. So I'm like looking at like when I was a kid though, it was just a completely different thing. Like I remember being in like elementary school and thinking that life was just going to be so easy. You're going to get everything you ever wanted. You're never going to have to worry about back pain, knee pain, foot pain, anything like that. But it's once you got out of high school and the bills hit you and then the world hits you. And then like now, even in your early 20s, I know so many kids now that are like, I have to get a tooth extracted or I have a cracked tooth. I'm like, in your 20s? Like, I get it. I mean, I had a tooth pulled, but I look at it like I never took care of my fucking teeth. You guys like brushed them 4 times a day. Like you couldn't go out on the big swing because you had to brush your teeth and then had to go back out on it. Like it's just crazy. I don't know what that is. I think that's like a combination of obviously what we're eating, but
Oh yeah. It's got to be tied to the food. A lot of it, processed food breaks down enamel twice as much, whatever that study was. It's it's crazy, the effects that all that has on your body.
well, Eric Weinstein, I think he's an evolutionary biologist. He was talking about how like this isn't a normal process of evolution. Like there's no way in hell that you can just remove parts of your healthy intestine and you're like you can go without it. It's there for a fucking reason. Your
Yep.
appendix is there for a reason. It might have we might have evolved past using it, but it's still there for an essential purpose. Getting like there's a person that was getting healthy parts of their body taken out just because they could. And I was like, I don't see, like, it's like the woman that made herself blind. Like, I don't know why you would do that. She poured bleach in her eyes and made herself blind. And I'm like, this is a fucking crazy world, man.
No, I would not want to make myself blind. I couldn't imagine having to learn how to walk and do things without being able to see. No way.
You
Uh-uh.
could walk normal. It's just making sure you don't bump into shit.
Well, yeah, it's a new way of walking, though. I mean, think about your gait and everything, how your legs move, the muscles and everything. When you're moving cautious and putting weight in different parts of your foot to be like, okay, what am I doing? It's going to trigger muscles you don't typically use. And so then your legs are going to be sore as hell. And it's like learning a new way to walk, a new gait.
If you could if you could slowly lose it over time, like it would be gone in a month, your total sight, or would you rather lose it all at once?
Gradually.
Okay.
Because then you know when it's getting bad and you're like, I need to look at some things, like burn it into my memory.
You can't guess when you drive anymore. You just gotta fucking give up the
Yep.
license.
Oh no, that would suck.
I know a couple
Yeah.
people who don't have a license, mostly because they suffer from like what's that epileptic seizures. So they're
Yeah.
like, I couldn't drive since I was 20. I was like, that sucks. You only had like 4 years of driving.
Yeah. I couldn't imagine losing my license like that, where it's like you literally cannot drive. They don't make braille driving.
But I mean, I think Tesla's gonna get to the point where you can just fucking autopilot that shit.
See, and then that would be great. But
You'll
then
be
you're limited in the
stroking out in
car
your fucking driver's seat, and the car's already going to your destination.
and parallel parks itself. You're good to go.
All you had a seizure. Oh
Yep.
God.
Did you hop out of the car? You're like, I'm good to go.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that though, man. Cause like I still appreciate like I drive an older car. So like if I go and I turn on and I know I'm gonna die by a deer one day. Every morning I was just thinking about this morning when I was driving back from work. I was like, when I turn on my high beams and I try and turn on the radio, the lights get dim because the battery can't function the radio and the headlights on high beams. And the same thing with my window. If I go and pull the window down, my headlights will dim. And there's always deer on this road. And I'm like, I'm gonna end up hitting one of these fucking
Yeah.
deer. And that's my biggest fear, mostly because I think I'm having more of a realization of how sensitive things are. Like when it comes to like, imagine an antler just going right through the freaking windshield. Like, all right, so here's the story. My dad scared the crap out of me with this. And I think this is why I've always remembered this since I was like 14. He was like, yeah, I hit a deer once. And I was like, yeah. I was like, but what's that fear of, like, you hear those stories of people like having a deer go through their windshield. He goes, so one time I was driving at 3 o'clock in the morning back from work, and this giant deer, huge antlers, jumps clear over my truck, just clear over a Dodge Durango. And I'm like, over the whole truck. He goes, imagine if that thing just missed a step or slipped when it jumped and an antler just goes right through my freaking driver's window. It's like, I don't think they intentionally mean to scare the shit out of you, but it's like when my grandpa told me never look at a lawnmower while you're like through your car. I was like, what? Because every time I would see someone mowing their lawn, I would stare at the lawnmower. And he'd be like, my buddy that I grew up with, he had a rock, got flung out of the lawnmower, went right into his eye. And I was like, is that true? He goes, your chance. I'm like, now I can't ever look at a lawnmower while I'm driving.
Now that's some Final Destination type shit.
That's what I thought death was when I was a kid. I was like, is that how it is? It's planned. It's all strategic coordination by death itself.
Well, it's like as a kid, you thought quicksand would be a way bigger issue than it is.
It's not.
Like you see it in movies and you're like, oh, I got to watch out for quicksand whenever I go for a walk.
There's one of my listeners in Estonia. Like, it's a fucking big issue. Everyone dies. I know. It just is like, it's screaming just because we don't experience it.
Yep. True. Where I'm at, there is no quicksand.
It's kind of like we always get like a weather warning. I had 3 Amber Alerts. All like, I think it was a couple nights ago. We had, first one was a flood warning. And then my first thought was like, okay, so that means I can just surf in the streets, because that's what people do down here. We just take a bodyboard and start swimming in the streets as long as a power line isn't nearby. And then the second one's like wind warning, and it was like gale force winds 55 miles an hour to 65 miles an hour. I was like, so it's a great day to fly a kite. And then the third one was like Amber Alert, Chevy Malibu with a stolen child. And I was like, I can fix two of these three problems. The third one, you're on your fucking own. Like,
So that Chevy Malibu is going to be driving down the street, get caught in a flash flood, and a power line's going to blow into it with the gale force winds and kill everybody in the car.
that's so crazy how you said that, because someone commented that on my tweet that I put up about it.
Oh, really?
Like the exact same thing. They go, look, that's all three of your problems solved. And I was like,
Yep.
that's crazy. I think everywhere, like you might have original thoughts, but I think everywhere you're either someone is thinking the exact same thing at you. It might be not the same person 24/7. Like there's not a genetically connected person like that would be connected to your thoughts or the way you eat or anything like that. But there's someone out there that's somehow your thoughts. I feel like it's like a bunch of text messages. Accidentally, you send a text message to the wrong person. Everyone's crafting out like different texts, and then suddenly you guys think of the same exact text.
Yep. Huh. Never thought about it like that. I bet there is, though. I bet we all think a lot of the same things, especially with you see the replies on the internet and you're like, I was just thinking that. It's a lot of the same comebacks, and like the way to solve your problems works the same way. I'm like, flooding, gale force winds, Chevy Malibu. Okay. So they're gonna flood, won't be able to drive.
Just gonna put these
The
all
wind is
yep.
Wind is gonna blow the power line into the car. All right, problem solved. Or we've all seen too many movies.
That's probably it. It's kind of like if you start thinking of like, this would be a great idea for a new invention, then you go and look it up and it's already created. You're like, everything you can think of has already been created. It's like, I think because most of the people have thought the same exact thing. We've all been there staring at a soup and been like, how can I use this besides my hand? And then someone creates a spoon. And a guy comes in with the spork. That's an amazing invention. And that guy he didn't get as much credit as he deserved.
Because all you did was put prongs on it. Yep.
Yeah, but that's so much more, I guess, universal. It's like the guy who invented the Swiss Army knife.
True. They're still making a lot of money.
And now it's all been reduced to creating reaction videos or reels or some type of TikTok to be able to make a new trend come out. We got to think of the next trend, man.
I would say work hard. That seems to be a trend that's missing these days. No one wants to do it. It's not glamorous, but you can make a lot of money if you work hard.
You're telling me the trend is getting a 9 to 5?
No, not necessarily 9 to 5. I wish I worked 9 to 5. I work like 60, 70 hours a week.
That's too much, man.
It is too much. But I mean, I have clients that are in like Australia and then some that are in like Tokyo. And so my meetings with clients are like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. and then same day, 10 a.m. or 10 p.m., 10, 11 p.m. So I take calls all day.
Do you have a flexible schedule or do you have to be online for a certain amount of hours?
No, I mean, they say like, be available between 8 and 4. But if you have to take a meeting before that or after that, you got to do what you got to do. So if I take a call at like 6 a.m. and I have one coming up at 10 p.m., I'm going to take a couple hours off during the day, go to the gym, get done what I need to get done. But for the most part, that happens. And then you get flooded with meeting requests and you're like, okay, shit. So it looks like I'm not going to the gym today and I'm going to take meetings all the way through. So it's all, you police yourself. You have to, otherwise you burn out.
How do you like just de-stress?
Usually the gym, but that's the first thing that gets cut out, because I'm like, well, no time to go because it's 20 minutes to get there, 20 minutes back. So there's almost an hour. My workout's like an hour and a half. So I literally have to pull 2 hours out of my day to go. It gets cut a lot.
I mean, I'm a big fitness freak. I didn't realize how much it was like. I actually needed it recently because I worked there too. So like when I get off work, it's like go work out, but then it's like you don't really feel like working out when you get off work. So it was like trying to have that initial like, let me get right to it. Because once I start doing it, I start feeling better.
Yeah.
But then like I did I think almost 5 hours of cardio. Like I did it from like 4:30 a.m. till like 10:30. That's about 6, I would say.
Yeah,
about 6. And I felt so fucking good. Like my eyes, just everything I felt like Biden did recently where he had that blood vessel pop in his eye. You just see like blood overtaking his eye. I literally felt so relaxed to a point where I felt like someone took a warm blanket and just tossed it over me and I had to be like freezing cold. But my thoughts weren't there. I felt
Nope.
resetted. I watched all of Squid Games. I felt like a whole different person. I was like, dude, you don't realize like what that actually does with you. I know it's like I want to capture that feeling in a bottle and put it in like a freaking air freshener. I got Forever Raspberry in my bathroom as an air freshener. I would love to have gym endorphins as one as well too.
Gym endorphins would be the best. But you know it's time to change out that air freshener, right? It's November 1st, which means it's pine tree season.
I can't handle that shit. No, no, no.
Come on, man. It's the holiday season. I've already blasted Mariah Carey once this morning.
That's crazy that you said that because I had so many people putting up memes of like the only time they ever dust off Mariah Carey is for this. I'm like, I would dust her off any day of the week.
I would dust that every day.
I love me some Mariah Carey. That's like my dream girl.
Oh, yeah. All I want for Christmas is Mariah Carey.
You're a Christmas guy, though. You got to be my Christmas. If the show continues past 11, you'll be one of my Christmas episodes.
Definitely have to. I'll be sitting here with my eggnog, my Mariah Carey sweater. Good to go.
You have a Mariah Carey sweater?
Maybe.
Your last one said like Rudolph something on it. It said something like in the Christmas.
It was Rodolph the Red-Nosed Gaines deer.
Dude, it's been a full freaking year. What's been going on? Give me the lowdown. I've been doing the same shit.
I mean, for the most part, I have to just work and went through some family drama, back in July. So kind of fell off the gym train for a couple months and trying to get back into it.
Why didn't you ever go down the powerlifter route?
Because I like my abs.
Okay.
I didn't want to just eat junk food and be strong. I kind of wanted some aesthetics to go with it. But you know who's a good person to follow and kind of look at how they train and their philosophy with it is Ross Edgley. He swam all the way around Great Britain. Took him like 1,700 days or something. He swam all the way around Great Britain without ever touching land. And he's built like a bodybuilder / powerlifter, but he does these endurance things where it's like he did a marathon, 26 miles, pulling a car behind him.
Gee,
he did a triathlon with a 100-pound tree on his back.
The way you just said that to me is like when I tell people I did like 6 hours of cardio or something, people go like, how the fuck? And I'm like, it's not hard, but I think you work at your limits. I just think everyone's like roof or their ceiling for what their limits are is different on whatever. Like, do you have anything throughout your whole entire life that you want to accomplish? One thing that's like a goal in your mind that's like not like a wealth goal or not like a money goal, but like a fucking giant thing that would make people like Amelia Earhart. You have any Amelia Earhart goals besides crashing and being lost forever?
That's a pretty good goal. I used to, and I was serious with it too. In my 20s, I was like, I want to climb Everest. And then I looked at the prices that people pay to climb Everest. It's like $70,000 to $100,000 just to climb it.
Yeah, because you got to pay a Sherpa. And I just thought of, you just gave me the best idea for careers, being a Sherpa.
Do it.
I don't think I can handle the cold though, man.
See, I love the cold, and they don't use oxygen, and their outfits that they wear, yeah, they've been wearing them for thousands of years over there, but it is not like the new stuff that is, Omni Heat technology or anything. It's just their Sherpa jackets, and they're out there doing it. I always wanted to climb Everest. I think the reasonable goal now is to just do a triathlon within the next couple of years. Definitely not in shape for it right now, but that's a goal.
I think it's all about really your endurance, though. I don't think because a past guest of mine who's lost a bunch of weight just did one of his first triathlon things. He really freaking enjoyed it, and I'm like, I don't like running like that. I only do it to burn calories. If it's going to be for a certain context, I need to be watching it. My mind goes all over the place, man. Like I can't just do one task. I have to do like 50 other.
Dude, run the triathlon while you're playing a game on your phone. And then you have a GoPro filming you do the whole thing.
You know how many?
So you're like, I ran, I biked, I swam, and I finished 2 TV shows, played a game.
Just like doing the backstroke while you have Netflix loading up, you have your hand above water.
You should do it. You know, that would go viral, bro. That would go viral.
I could fucking sit on my couch and fart and it would go viral.
True. But this combines your love of fitness with going viral, you know, best of both worlds.
Did you see, I don't know, you know who Tim Dillon is?
Yeah.
So he put up a long time ago that was retweeted about like the Tokyo Olympic Games or whatever. And it was he did a voiceover of one of the people announcing it and acted like, oh, announcer gets slip up off camera or off recording, and it's like him talking. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was retweeted by like World Star Hip Hop. It was retweeted by like all these giant like news sources saying Mike slip up, guy got fired, and they didn't know it was the comedian. Then they had to retract everything. So recently, the one of the pilots for like Southwest or something is getting a lot of shit on the news because he talked about the mandates or he said some type of thing like "Let's go, Brandon," and so he just did a video for that. And I'm curious because this is before it all starts trending, so I'm waiting to see if this trends. But listen to this, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain. Welcome to Flight 315 from Houston to Albuquerque. Donald Trump is still the president. It is a reminder to everybody here that we do have a federal mask mandate, which is for the coronavirus, which does not exist. I am against it. And if you come up to the cockpit, which you can do because the door is open in violation of FAA guidelines, because I'm not afraid of nobody, you'll see that I am not wearing my mask. I encourage you to not wear your mask as well. We'll have you on the ground pretty early today. Ladies and gentlemen, we have started our initial descent. Joe Biden is a communist Chinese puppet. Flight attendants, please prepare the cabin for arrival. We live in hell. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Albuquerque. We're just waiting for the gate right now. We should have a gate opening up pretty soon. Hopefully, I'll see you all at the Capitol, if you know what I mean.
God.
That's what I love is like, I don't know when this idea for people to be like Chappelle, like getting canceled or something. When did we expect our comedians not to be comedians? When did we expect our actors to do like political shit, like Matthew McConaughey talking about running for governor of fucking Texas? And that affects you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. I hope he doesn't, because he is the biggest sellout in the world. I call it now. He is. Everything he says is just, there's two sides of a coin. He says what he has to maintain his image, and then other than that, he's typical Hollywood piece of shit. He didn't used to be, but now he is. Like, even my wife, who's the hugest Matthew McConaughey fan, is like, this dude is off his meds. Like, he's just insane.
Do you think someone came up to him and was like, we need you to run just to make sure, like, you see that thing that's going on with the one governor who staged all those things to make it look like a racist thing out in front of his butts? I think his name's Youngkin or something like that.
Yeah. I think it is like that because no one likes our current governor, Governor Abbott. He's better than our mayor. Our mayor's just like Ted Cruz, who went down to Cancun during the Texas snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it has been a year since I've talked to you.
Yeah, it's been.
We had that giant snowstorm.
Yeah.
And so
you survived. Thank God.
Thank God. We had rolling blackouts. They call it that. People were out of power and water for like 2 weeks. And so the senator from here was like, well, I'm in it too. Like, I don't have power and it's cold or whatever. Next thing you know, there's pictures of him at the airport going to Cancun with his family, his daughter's honeymoon or whatever. He left everyone here in Texas to be like, go freeze. I don't care. So then all the memes were, because his name's Ted Cruz, it was I'm just gonna cruise on down to Mexico.
Yeah, I know that. I saw that.
Yeah.
How did you handle that, man? I totally spaced out on that whole situation that was going on.
Oh man, I had a fire on my porch, so you're not allowed to. But I'm like, we got no power, no water, and plus you couldn't get from here to the gate. Who's gonna say shit? No one. So I had wood and stuff from when we went camping like weeks before that. And so I went out in my front porch and I cut wood and I started a fire. And then I cooked my food on the fire because it was so cold and we didn't have power. You could put just a bunch of snow in an ice box and put your meat in there, your stuff that needs to stay cold. And it stayed cold. It was like 4 degrees. And so then I just made a fire on the porch and then cooked my food over that. And I mean, it's the best we could do. Luckily, me and Costco, we had food. We had plenty of food. So it was that, and then just, boiling drinking water because we had no water. So we had to melt down snow and boil it. And it was insane.
What is so like the first couple of days that was happening, did you think it was like were you getting to that point where it was like any day it's going to come back on, any day it's going to come back on, any day we're going to get our power and stuff back? And then when did you start to be like it's not coming back? Because I just recently, I think during my first ever podcast episode out of all the ones I had, the power went out in my whole entire like part of like one part of my state. And they were like, I was calling, but the whole everything just shut off mid thing. And I was like, what? And then like I thought it was my house. And then I checked the Wi-Fi connections, and there was nothing but a person called Chick-fil-A guest. And it's just some random fucking network in the area. But I was like, how I was sitting there like it's gonna be on any minute. And then after an hour, I was like, it's probably not going to come on for a fucking while. And that's when I started trying to get like crafty and trying to find ways to be able to like keep my phone alive, keep some basic things like the fridge wasn't working. We didn't have snow. This was like last month. So it's still like 70 something degrees out.
No, they told us it was going to be rolling blackouts. So like you would go without power for 2 or 3 hours because our grid was basically collapsing. They're like, we'll turn it off in this neighborhood for 2 hours. Here's a map of who's going to go through what outages when. Where we live, our power grid is only shared by us, a car dealership, and like a gas station. So our rolling blackout wasn't rolling. They turned our power off because we weren't essential like a hospital or a police station or a grocery store.
Why the
So
fuck are hospitals essential?
I know, right? And so we
didn't anyway.
Right. So we didn't have any power. We weren't on the rolling blackouts. By the fourth or fifth day, might have been the fifth day, our friends who bought a house up in Leander, which is like 30 minutes away, they share the power grid with a fire station. And they're like, we're losing power for like 2 hours, and then we'll have power for 2 hours. And they have a fireplace. They had a new pool. So you don't think about it like to flush the toilet, you got to put water in the back of it without power and water. So they just got a pool, and their pool was full of water. So they're like, we'll just dip from the pool, pour it in the back of the toilets.
Wow. My brain went somewhere else. I was like, you took a shit in the pool.
I should have. But it was a brand new pool, and it iced over. The ice was literally this thick. So 4 or 5 times a day, we were out there breaking ice in the pool. And the crazy thing is, we were doing 75 hard during the snowstorm. So that's like 2 workouts a day, a gallon of water. One of the workouts has to be outside no matter what. And, some other things that are included in that program. And so we didn't skip anything. We went through the gallon of water a day. We worked out outside. It was crazy. So you're doing like 4 miles of cardio in 4-degree weather. And this is Texas. We don't do 4-degree weather.
When did you lose hope? Like, when was the official moment? Like, how many days?
About 5 or 6. I was stubborn, so I probably lost it at 4, but kept it going until 6. Whenever we woke up and we're sleeping in sleeping bags in our bed, and I look at the thermostat, and the thermostat's showing like 30 degrees inside the apartment. And I'm like, I don't think we can do another day of this.
I don't remember if I sent you a message about like, hey, want to do a podcast. If that happened to be the time that you were going through that, I'm fucking sorry. I did not know. It was completely, I didn't know what that experience was like because we weren't experiencing it.
It was so rough. And I'd been at my new job, like a few months at that point. And so all of Austin was out of power. And most of the people that work in our office were in Austin at the time. And so we're just canceling meetings from our phone, like, hey, there's a power outage. And of course, you get those people that are like, I don't care, like, figure it out. Like, I want my meeting with you. What do you want me to do?
Good luck.
I can take the call on my cell phone, sure. I can't pull up your account. I can't help you with anything. I can't see anything. Well, I still want my meeting. Okay, fine, call me. Then they're like, well, what about this or that on their account? And I'm like, I don't know. What's it look like? I can't see it. I have no way of looking at it. It was crazy. Luckily, we all got like a week off. They're like, just take a week off. Like, we'll deal with it when we come back. If people don't understand they declared it a natural disaster here. If people don't understand that, whatever. And so it was just stay alive. The whole thing.
I bet you now, if a 9/11 situation happened, I guarantee to you, people are gonna be like, "Where are you at?" It's like, well, we just had a giant. I just lost like 10 people. It's like, doesn't matter. I need you to be there. We just had an ISIS threat recently, didn't we? We had I forgot what it is, Virginia that had an ISIS threat or something like that.
I
I'm like,
think it
are
was
they?
Virginia.
They told us like a couple of months ago. They're like, oh yeah, and ISIS is back, and I'm like, shut the fuck up. They've been gone since 2014. You know, it's with that political stuff with the freaking Lincoln Project stuff. I don't believe it's actual ISIS. I think it's something complete. I think it's a bunch of people just trying to create up fear, do something to get their opinions across. But like we said, Matthew McConaughey, did someone talk to him? I don't know what's real anymore because I don't think in a million years anybody would thought that they would try and slander somebody's image by even the Democrats, the ones that were supposed to be like these people that are like, we're pro your feelings. Now they're like, fuck you. We want to get our point across.
Everybody's pro your feelings until they don't need you anymore. And then it's like, now we're just going to get our point across, do what we say. And then when it comes time to elect again, they'll be like, we care about your feelings.
We care about your vote. That's what
care
it
about
is.
your vote and your taxes. What
I
we
don't
want.
like it when people are like, it's the lesser of two evils, Biden or Trump. I'm like, you ever thought about going independent? Independent will never win. How do you know if you don't fucking vote them?
Yeah, because they want to keep that Ferris wheel going. And it's like, I always used to say this. Well, I didn't say it in a derogatory way, but like working in a call center where it's just the same shit every day. And, you complain and it's just like, well, work harder and you won't be here. Work harder. It's like, what the sign said above Auschwitz? It said, hard work will set you free. And that's kind of how I feel with politics right now is it's just, yeah, we know we're going to fucking cap all you people and we don't give a shit about you, but hard work will set you free. Keep going.
Yeah, these ideas that like conspiracies is like, conspiracy would be that the government actually cares about you. They don't care about you. They only care about you making them money. Like that's the only incentive for them. It's just people that have like, I honestly think like I was looking at like a apocalypse scenario. If there was a true apocalypse, I'd be okay if I was one of those people that were taken out. But I feel like that's what it needs to be like when bills aren't the giant priority anymore, when life isn't all about money and then it's almost damn near impossible for a lot of people to survive. I was like, you really think about it when you get put in one of those like, frost scenarios like you were put into, you start getting down. Like when did the primal thoughts start to sink in of like, we might have to go over to our neighbor's house and borrow something, or we might need to go over to our neighbor's house and take something from them, even if it's like they're inside their house, they're not using whatever on their front porch. I got to use that.
Yep, they have wooden chairs on the front porch and I'm running out of wood.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Is like you start getting these thoughts and people think it would be like, I start to wonder how long, if something like that happened everywhere, power went out for freaking a month or something, as far as you knew the power was just gone inevitably. How long until you would start thinking about ways to survive and not caring about what the moral or ethical thing is to do?
I think people would last 2 weeks tops.
2 weeks
tops. Some of them it would be day one where they're like, I'm going to be ahead of the curve and I'm going to get what I need. Other people I think would make it 2 weeks before it's like, I don't care about Susie who's in my PTA group. I'm going to go take shit from her. I think about 2 weeks for the good people.
You wouldn't care about any handicap parking. You'd be like, fuck him. He's a cripple anyway.
He shouldn't be driving in this shit.
Yeah, well, you had 2 weeks basically. So like, is that lucky that it all came back on? Do you think if it went like 3 or 4, it would have got darker?
It would have, because just the lines to get into the grocery stores were hours long of people standing out in the cold, people fighting over, water, anything. They had just anything that you would want to eat, like how fat people are, pizzas and, frozen meals, all that stuff, the shitty stuff for you, all gone. What I ran into was if you had to cook it yourself, people are generally so fucking lazy that they won't. So I had meat. I had vegetables because vegetables.
I love
meat. Me too. Meat and veggies, good. We never ran out of food because the only thing that was sold out was fucking fat people food. Your Doritos and bean dip. And
hold on a second. Look, I've been eating cans of beans. Like,
God damn it.
Just opening up a can of beans. Is that fat people food? Is beans?
No, anything just easy, where it's like, I can't cook for shit.
You can't fat shame on my show, you piece of shit. Not just kidding. But I was eating beans out of a can with like a spoon.
Beans are like the bean dip, like, the Fritos bean dip.
Yeah.
18,000 calories for a quarter-size serving.
Shit,
yeah. That's what was sold out, was like bagel bites and anything that you could just pop in an oven and it's done.
Fucking bagel bites. God damn it. Well, who bakes them in an oven?
Well, sorry, that would take too long for most people I know. Microwave,
I've only learned the microwave. I was never allowed to touch the oven as a kid, so
bro.
I'm now an adult
Oven,
that barely knows how to use the oven.
oven's where it's at.
You were there when I was finally making chicken out of the oven after like 20 something years, and you would hear the
Yeah.
alarm go off in the background. But I was eating, I had a can of beans. I opened it up. And I was eating it with like beans out with a spoon. I did feel like an animal, but I was like, God damn it. If this is how homeless people living train car to train car and eating a can of beans, I was like, this ain't that bad.
See, cans of beans are good, and cans of tuna, I can do cans, but like you could find that at the store. The only whenever they were fear mongering and saying like everything is gone, there is no food. The only food that was out was like frozen meals and chips and candy bars. You could go to the store and buy vegetables all day long. You could buy meat. A lot of meat was gone, but like there was still plenty of meat for people to go around. It was just the prepackaged shit that was
as
gone.
much as like the pandemic, like in the beginning, it seemed like there was going to be no fucking end to like it was just there was shit was about to start turning into Mad Max scenario. Everyone went to the store and got the shit that is gone first, like that is always perishable, the first item to expire. There was the red meat scare when people got their stimulus checks, and everyone, it's like, what happens if the power goes out? Then your freezer's not going to work for a lot of those things. But this came to my head recently. A lady at my work, she's a really nice lady, but I hadn't seen her in a while. And I was like, what's like, you haven't been in the gym in a while. What's going on? She goes, it's just so hard to get the energy to work out. And I was like, oh, it's like you going through some depression stuff. And she's like, no, I have Lyme's disease. And I was like, what? And she's like, I'm fatigued all the time. I get sick. I had to cut everything out of my diet. Now, her personality is, I go to Florida every weekend, go party at clubs, drink and eat at fancy restaurants, like $800 for a slice of cheese, that type thing. She goes, I had to cut out all the wine, all the margaritas. Oh my God, the cheese. And she's really nice. And I was like, I haven't had cheese in a long time. She's like, oh, I would kill for a Gouda right now. And I was like, so when can you eat that? She's like, I have to introduce everything back into my diet, but it's every 90 days she gets to try a new food to see what really affects her stomach. And bro, she like, it's like someone killed her family. Like she was like in that position. I was like, I'm so glad that if the world ever does go to a Mad Max scenario, as long as I can get like a protein shake, which was like, that was even debatable. All the GNCs fucking shut down. So there's no everyone comes into my work. Can I buy a protein shaker? Can I buy this? I'm like, Walmart has just completely recently at my Walmart remodeled everything because they're doing online shopping like it's most of the store now.
Yeah.
But they morphed all the aisles in together to where the aisles before you could fit a cart and a cart, and then someone can maybe squeeze in the middle. Now it's just one cart. So it's like you're a fucking rat in a maze. And it's so hard because I'm like going and there's someone stocking shelves and I have to go all the way around, do a loop. And as I do that, he's moved over to my side and I have to do the same fucking thing over and over again, to the point where I just get aggressive. Like, can you just let me get through? I'm just trying to get the Jello cups. That's all I want.
Man, introducing food back into your diet though is so crazy, especially with like stomach issues, gastrointestinal issues. It's so crazy. And it's funny. You said it's like she lost her family. I'm part of the 75 Hard Facebook group. And, during that 75 days, there's no cheat meals, no alcohol, like no little handfuls of M&Ms type thing. And there's people on the group that they're like, as I type this, I am sobbing because like it has been 4 days since I have had my favorite candy bar. Like, I feel like I just can't go on. What? For a food item?
Well, like Halloween was the other night, and then the party was for, I think they did it the day before, and everyone was going out drinking and partying, dude. And then I guess they must have took all their kids out on Halloween and might have had some of their dad tax or mom tax candy wise. And then they all came into the gym like first thing when they opened up this morning. I was like, oh my God, like nobody's ever here first thing when it opens up. It's always just me. I get the whole gym to myself. And I have like, I wouldn't say I'm claustrophobic, but when I'm trying to lift and do bench press and there's 3 bench presses right beside me and they go to the one right beside me rather than the one over to the middle, then I have like 80,000 people walking in front of me, walking around me. I'm like, this is why I go so fucking early in the morning. I start getting like, I turn into a psychopath. I'm like freaking the fuck out. Like, get away from me, get away from me. And it's not like I'm an asshole. It's just a fact of like, I can't stand it when I have like 80,000 old people right beside me, just lifting. And like, they put the curl bar behind their head and then they start leaning over, like half bending. and doing that to like train their back, lower part of the back, but it looks so awkward. But they'll do it right to where their crotch is like pointed directly at you. And I'm like, oh my, I had to get up and I'm fucking done. And I just walked into the other room. I was like, I gotta get out of this space.
Yep. Oh man, doing those good mornings.
Yeah, it's fucking, oh my God. It's crazy because like the main point of that was for me, I don't have candy in my diet anymore. I don't get the cravings for it because I haven't had it in forever. And then
Yep.
only thing I've been trying to kick recently was beans because I was eating so fucking many of those. And I was like, I can't, because I would, whenever I do get sleep, it's like a good 30-minute sleep or a 45-minute sleep. I sleep in like bursts because I'm an insomniac. So like it's rare for me to get that. But I always wake up and I'm starving as hell. So like if I do a podcast, I can fast the whole time. I don't have to eat because I'll be talking. I'm already focused on something else. But when I'm bored, I get a little hungry. And then I eat beans and I go to bed. I get these horrible ass nightmares. And I was like, I'm done with fucking beans. Because when you wake up after you just ate something, you feel like shit. You literally feel like garbage. You're slowish. You're all this type of stuff.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'm going to cut out beans. And here's the snack I'm going to do. Jello. I'm going to burn 2,000 calories on the elliptical, then only consume 300 the whole day. I'm like, that's going to be good. So I would get Jello cups and eat those before bed. So I've been doing that. But then someone bought beans and then we have beans in our house. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, it's just, it keeps hounding me. I just keep
now I'm
going
gonna
back
eat some
to
beans.
it.
But it's already cold there, so you can make some chili. Throw
What's-
all those beans in a crock pot.
Yeah, once I learn how to use the full part of the oven, sure. But unless you can make it in the microwave, I was trying to make gelatin. Like I bought stuff to make gelatin, and I was like, well, I want to make good gelatin, so I want to put protein powder in it and make like protein jello. And I was like, it's gonna be good. I tried making it, dude. It's complicated as hell. I got more respect for people that make gelatin. They're like, you gotta put it in cold water, mix it, let it grow is what they said because it's got to like rise like a yeast and then like then pour hot water in it and then mix again and then chill for 4 hours. I'm like, this is way more complicated than I thought.
Yeah, that I've never done it from scratch. Huh.
It didn't go
That
out
would
well.
be.
I made one pan that was good and then the other first initial pan would just came out like water. And I was like, I'm just going to dump this out and just, it's $1 for 4 cups of Jello. I eat a cup of Jello a day. That's not bad.
No, it's not bad at all. Huh.
But you look like an asshole
Yeah.
buying Jello cups. You do. You do. You look like a piece of shit. I was literally buying them at the register and someone's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, what? Like, do you have stomach cancer? I'm like, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh God. See, that's why you just have to mix it in with your Doritos and your bean dip.
You know, that's what the fucking fruit salad is, right? Not like the fruit salad of like they would put like jelly beans, mayonnaise, all that, like How I Met Your Mother, where the guy's making the Erickson salad and it's like 10 layers of just shit. I can't stand mayo. I can't do any of that shit.
What about liverwurst? Since we just left October and it was Oktoberfest time, liverwurst. Have you ever had it?
I don't think I've ever had the worst.
Bro, gotta have liverwurst.
I think I had pickled herring.
Oh yeah.
If that's not that bad, it's just the smell. The smell is a fucking pain.
Yeah, I'm gonna get some and make my wife try it this year. Pickled herring.
I don't
it's not
think
bad.
I think because I used to have family Thanksgivings at my one grandmom's house, and she always used to like make a bunch of food. I'm the type of person that I will try new things, but if I'm hungry, I just want to eat what I know I like, which is like I'll get a little bit of turkey, tiny bit of mashed potatoes, and then maybe a little bit of corn or something. And that was it, a small plate of that. Because fitness guy, I was not really. Thanksgiving and those holidays used to be a pain in the ass when I used to like restrict to nothing because then you're always around it and then you just crave it. But I remember I tried green bean casserole, the mac and cheese, which I hate mac and cheese. I like the sound it makes when you put a spoon in it, but I fucking hate eating it. And then my first pie was like when I was 20, I had my first pie and I was like, this is fucking amazing. But I'm like, I get why people become like obese because this food is fucking delicious. It's like if anybody has a quiche around me, I love eggs, but I'm dairy sensitive. So if I eat eggs, I'm fucking killing everybody in the room.
Yeah, quiches are amazing. I love all the holiday food, but try to restrict it so you don't become super obese. But man, holidays like Thanksgiving, the stuffing, the green bean casserole, love it. And then turkey. Oh, I go through some turkey, and then you make the The gravy with the what is it? You cut up part of the, what is it, the neck? Can't remember what you put in the gravy. Giblet gravy? Yeah.
Don't ask me. I don't know. My Thanksgiving and Christmas traditions always shrimp, and that's it. Crab cakes.
Crab cakes. You live in Maryland. You get crab cakes for cheap.
Well, I don't eat like hard meats anymore. I haven't had it in so long. My stomach, I have digestive issues. So when it comes to eating like heavy foods like that, I can't. Like I've been on a liquid diet for like the longest time besides like beans. And you can just mush those up in your mouth. And then I'm a sucker for cereal, dude. When Kellogg's went on their fucking strike, I was like, God damn it, this affects me.
They were in Texas, weren't they? Kellogg's, where that strike was. I think that was in Texas.
I thought it was Michigan.
Was it? I'm probably wrong.
Well,
Frito is who I was thinking. They're in Texas.
They're all the same shit.
Yeah, the Frito one didn't bother me because I don't eat chips. So
I bet you, like with Disney or with Marvel and DC, and then with Burger King and McDonald's, I bet you it's the same guy that just made those companies so that it would seem like, are you red versus blue? It's the same shit. It's like what I relate to the Illuminati is like they probably the Democrat and Republican. It's probably one guy, just like fucking both my teams are fighting. Which dog's gonna get the bone?
Yeah, but either way, I get paid.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, it is like that too. But I mean, even like with retail, you know, what I've noticed in what I do for a living, they're starting to run the holiday sales and stuff earlier just to make more money off of it. So it's like we sell this, say, you know, Christmas beer in December. People want it all year round. So what if we start selling it in October? Then we can kind of extend the desire for it. And so what I noticed, like at my liquor store, and like I said, I work in e-commerce. People are like, fuck it, this sells out every year, so our sales go through the roof. Let's start selling it 2 months early and see if it still happens. And sure enough, it does. We're sold out. We were sold out of Christmas beer in end of October, like middle of October. And like Oktoberfest beers went on sale in fucking August and were sold. A lot of them were sold.
We're sitting here talking about what happens in 2 weeks as people lose their minds when the whole thing shuts down. What about on the one day where they do a Black Friday sale and people literally stomp on other people's heads? Our Walmart is now doing the Black Friday sale. They're not waiting until the day of doing it. Everything's out on the floor and the sales are as low as it's going to get. It's not going to be a special day. I'm like, that's what you want to know. An issue with retail is they let that happen. They made it an event, seeming like it's like when you see the thing say 2 for 1, you're like, oh my God, it's $6. It's like, because original price when it's not on sale is $3 each. So it's technically the same thing. But you see that yellow fucking sticker and that red lettering that's telling you buy this, it's on sale. All these retail stores, I get it. It's incentivizing people to buy more shit, to sell more shit. I'm not mad at you for that. What I'm mad is that you make us look like fucking animals when you do that shit. You make people could just go into a ravaged state when they see a sale. There's old shows where, you know, in a shoe store, women were hitting each other in the head with like fucking elbows and like heels and digging it into their eyes, like, fuck you, motherfucker, don't buy my Versace, and then just losing their shit. And it's like they like to watch those? That. What, do you watch those?
Yeah, like every year, like after Black Friday, the YouTube compilation of it, where it's like the fights from the stores. Oh my God.
It didn't happen last year. I'm hoping the pandemic really kind of like, ever since that, it's almost 2 years now, ever since that situation has gone down, there has been just a giant change in the way people don't really do the same. Like Walmart's not 24 hours anymore. There was no Black Friday last year. The year before that, I had friends that were sending me Snapchats like, just bought this TV for this price. And I'm like, I'm not going there. I'll go there the next day.
They'll still have it for the same price.
Yeah, people will be hiding games and shit. That's the fun part, is you can find the deals that people hid for the next day.
Haha, mine.
Yeah.
I don't even want it, but now I'm gonna buy it just so whenever you come looking for it, it's not there.
Pulling down my stomach cancer jello, and I see a fucking game for like $20 that's usually $80. I'm like, oh, someone was trying to hide this, thinking nobody buys those.
Mine.
Fine.
Well, and that's part of it though, with the, like you said, Walmart doing the same deal all week. That's been the shift since the pandemic, is people are like, we make such good money on that day. Let's see if we can extend it a week, like that same sale, but all week or for 2 weeks, and make the same amount of money, but for that 2 weeks. So your profits, your average order value goes way up. So that's the mentality behind it. Because I have clients who are starting their Black Friday sales like next week. And I'm like, that early? And they're like, yeah, we make such great money with our Black Friday sale, Cyber Monday. We're just going to run it all month. And so it works. It worked last year where more people were buying it because they saw that fucking sign, Black Friday special. And it's the beginning of November. And so more people buy for a longer period of time. It works.
I wish our priorities weren't focused on that. I wish it was focused on something else.
Yeah. Like eating cancer jello.
Not even anything food. Maybe like they had the Beagle thing with Fauci trending for
Yeah.
a matter of like 2 hours. And then next thing you know, it's which is your favorite Chex Mix out of this container of Chex Mix? Is it this piece? Everyone's putting up their favorite piece. I'm like, fuck you, society. Fuck you. This is why I'm all upset at the world, is because you're shit. You're shit.
Yes. It is crazy just to see the paradigm of like shopping and advertising and all that, of what's important, what's not. I mean, as long as I can pay my bills, eat what I want to eat, and work out, enjoy my life, that's all I care about.
If you knew that it was your last day and you could choose one food to eat, just go into the store, something you haven't had in forever, something you can grab from the store, what would it be?
Oh man.
I know you probably haven't had breakfast.
Eggnog is one of them for the drink.
Okay.
Drink my final eggnog. And then for food, Captain Crunch.
Really?
Probably Captain Crunch.
You haven't had that in a long time or something?
Oh, like a decade. Yeah.
Is it because it rips up your mouth too much?
Yeah, and I haven't had cereal in like a decade. For breakfast,
that's so foreign to me.
Yeah, for breakfast I eat usually every morning. It's like eggs, some sort of protein like meat, and oatmeal. I eat the same thing every day.
There's this kid he had a nickname in like an elementary school. His name's Spitz. And what he would do is he had this weird thing, is why he got the name Spitz, is he would just take the tops of muffins, just take them and eat those, and he would leave the rest of the muffin. It's like you would go to get a muffin at like that were laid out when you go to lunch, because this is before Corona, nothing was covered up. Everything was out in the open. You get a booger here, fucking hair there. And this kid would just take the tops of the muffins. He's a little bit challenged, so nobody said anything to him. He just take the tops of the muffins and put them on his tray and then walk out. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's the weirdest shit, but like it's the stuff you remember when you're little, man. Like I see so many people now that used to be like, I mean, I got better looking from elementary school. I was like an obese little kid. And then I got a 6-pack, and then everyone started liking all my photos and fucking messaging me. And then I remember when I was a kid, there was a girl I was dating at the time in like 4th grade, and I didn't even know what dating was, dude. I was a year behind everybody. I was just like, apparently I have a girlfriend. She wrote her name on my hand. That's my girlfriend, I guess. I don't know. And
nice.
Then I remember 2 girls were fighting over me. I was like, what the like now I look back and I was like, dude,
this
dumbest
is amazing.
shit. That fucking lady is a doctor now. I almost said that bitch. Thank God I didn't say that. But I was like, I censored myself good. I was like, that bitch. I say it with love. People go like, you just called that person a bitch. I was like, I say it with love. When I'm being serious, I'll call Fauci a fucking bitch.
Sometimes I'm a bitch.
Everyone's a bitch at times.
It happens.
Just can't say the C word.
Oh man, I almost did.
That's a fucking, you can. I don't care if you do it, but that's a trigger word for so many people where it's like, I'm like, it's just a fucking word. Everyone's like, you stupid. And then you say it and like the whole fucking air gets sucked out of the room.
I've done it before like with people around me, and they're like, oh my God, you can't say that. You know what I say? Stop being a cunt.
I've back, like if you look back when I was first like talking to a lot of Australian people, they would use that word like it's nothing. I'm like, hang on a second, can you go back to what you just said? They're like, what? And I was like, you said the 4-letter word, one starts with a C. It's like it would be a job in a football, a punt, but you will use the
yeah. I have clients that they'll say, because I have Australian clients, and they're trying to get something to work or whatever, and they're like, oh, stop being a, I'm like, okay, and now we're going to pivot from that conversation to something else where you don't drop that word, maybe.
Do you have any words that affect you, that hurt you?
Not really. Yeah. They're just words to just sounds out of your mouth to elicit a response. What was that? That was from Roadhouse. Patrick Swayze. When someone's like, what if someone calls my mom a whore? He's like, is she? They're just they're just noises that come out of your mouth to elicit a response. Nothing really bothers me.
Trying to think if I have any trigger words. I don't think I have any words that really like get me like to because I don't like giving anything that much power over me. Like I've been getting a lot of headaches the past couple of
Yeah.
days because I've been kicking coffee and I'm
No.
starting to notice my body's like, you need fucking you just need something hot. And I'm like, all right, I'll get some hot water. Like, no, we need something hot. That's brown water. And I'm like, shit water? Like, no coffee. We need coffee.
Shit water. Yeah, sometimes it is warm. With
I
all
just
the
can't
hot sauce I eat, man.
Oh,
Sometimes that snowstorm was great because I could wipe my ass with a snowball.
dude, I haven't had hot sauce probably since the time we talked.
I had to lay down on it. My stomach was giving me issues. Like, not to get too gross, but like blood.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, no. I cooled it way down after that. Just like burning stomach too. Just burned for days.
You have ulcers?
I think so.
Oh, you didn't check?
No, I'm fine. Until it happens again, and I'm going to be like, I need to go to the doctor. Okay, let's go. No, never mind. I'm fine.
I was since I have digestive issues, I was like going through like the stomach whatever issues in the Walmart. They have that whole aisle that's all about like stomach. If you have this, it's where I find my Jello too. So there's another reason people go, oh, I'm so sorry. But I was walking through the aisle and I was looking and I was like, there's like a bunch of like a whole assortment for stuff for hemorrhoids, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I don't think I've ever had one of those. And then like people go, you would know if you had one. And I was like, what is it? Like, I was like, is it common? Like, oh, it's very common. I get them like once every couple of weeks. I'm like
what?
Like, is that normal? Yeah, everyone gets them. I'm like, I don't fucking think so. I've never heard of that before, but it's like, it's weird because for some people that like digestive issues for me, when I'm like, I haven't gone to the bathroom in like a month and a half, they're like, what? And I'm like, I haven't. And that's normal. Like, I'm normally understanding that now. And they're like, that's not normal. And I'm like, oh, because this is part of my reality now. Your reality is something completely different. Your reality is that once a month or once every couple of months, you bleed out of the tip of your dick. That's normal for them. And I'm like, that's not fucking normal, man.
No. I have a friend who they go number 2 like once a week. They're like, yeah, something must be wrong. Like, I went twice this week. I'm like, twice this week?
Yeah.
I'm a solid 4 times a day kind of guy. I could set my watch by it. I'm like, oh, yep, there you go. It's 11:35, 11:37.
I used to think that was weird. Before my digestive issues, I used to be like exactly at the same time every day. Yep. And then even with the time change, it would change with the time change, like exactly on the hour. I would have people text me like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, why? Like, you ran to the bathroom. I was like, this is just how I go to the fucking bathroom, running down the fucking thing. And I remember I was talking to my grandpa about it, and my grandma goes, we're at like a fucking seafood dinner, dude, like at a nice ass restaurant. She just goes, he does the same thing. And my grandpa was like, yo, it's a genetic thing. And he fucking high fives me. I was like, wait, so most people get like height or like really good basketball athletics or some type of genetic gift that makes you a professional athlete, but we get a shit time? He goes, yeah. And every hour it changes, right? I'm like, exactly. He goes, yeah, that's me and you, buddy. That's me and you.
Yep. We got a shit schedule.
I was like, that's fucking, he's like, he's like, you're thinking about it like that's the worst ability ever. But imagine you can plan your whole fucking day around that.
We'll be out with friends, like at a bar, and they'll be like, hey, so let's go over here now. And I'm like, hold on. Let's give it like 15 minutes because in 5.5 minutes, I got to go to the bathroom.
Hey, good on you for finishing in 10.
If I'm out, I can finish in 10. Otherwise, I take my 20-minute breaks.
Every time I try and rush it, I can't.
Oh no, it comes out.
Okay.
At that particular time, there is no stopping it. I could be walking down the aisle at the grocery store, and I'm like, either I go right now or I go right now.
See, I used to be the opposite, where I had to like take Pepto to be able, because I would get nervous, my anxiety would kick up, and I'd have to go really bad. But then it just went the complete opposite. My doctor's like, you can't do hot sauces anymore. I was like, why? Like, because it's bad for you on your intestines until you're able to be like healthy with it. And I'm like, so what's the thing? She goes, I think it's stress. I'm like, but I don't feel that stress. Like, Robbie, you're stressed. Like, everyone can tell you have a psychopath behind your head. And I'm noticing that after that gym thing. I started to realize, like, I've had so many moments where I could have easily just pulled a fucking OJ on people. I don't know if it's me or if it's like, because I had my doctor tell me, I think it's just you, because I told him about a specific scenario. And you fucking listen to this. Ready? I'm walking out of Walmart. I'm walking, and a car backs up, and I mean, not looking, just rips out. Back of their car hits me right in the shoulder and like fucking spins me basically. I'm like, what the fuck? And the person, there was no car in front of them. They could have just drove forward and left, but instead they wanted to back out like an idiot. You go, you don't just drive forward when there's no cars in front of you and you're in a parking lot. You just could easily go.
Yeah.
Fucking hits me, like backs up, then goes forward and does that, and then just leaves. Not never. No, I'm sorry, none of that. And I fucking was like, go fuck yourself. Is that me being a bad person, or is
No.
that person being an asshole?
This is that person being an asshole, not paying attention, probably staring at their phone, or thinking about what they're going to order at McDonald's.
But my fucking doctor was like, and when did this happen? I was like, last week. And they're like, and you're still thinking about it? I was like, yeah, because it pissed me off.
Yeah. I hold on to shit for a while.
Okay.
But then again, maybe I'm not the best person to ask.
I just like to put all my deep hate into a cellar and wait till it all boils out on somebody.
Yeah, me too. I always tell my wife, I was like, one of these days I'm going to say, fuck it. I'm going to let all my demons out to play.
You got a couple big ones in there?
I got a couple big ones in there.
Any ones that you're just ruminating on, waiting for the wrong person to say? I'm wondering what that trigger is going to be for you.
Man, it's usually people at the grocery store who don't say excuse me. No one says excuse me anymore.
No.
So they'll like hit your arm with their cart. And one time it hit my funny bone on my elbow. And I was so close to just fucking flipping his cart. Like, there, pick your shit up. And dude,
I was looking at it like this. You're like, it hit my funny bone. I was like, I could just imagine you being so angry, but you're laughing because it hit your funny bone. And you're like,
my hand was asleep.
You're like, oh my God, this dude's a fucking psycho.
Yeah, I push people's carts sometimes. Like, if they won't move it and I'm trying to get by and they just give you that deer in the headlights look, I'll just walk by and push their cart. Like, get the fuck out of my way.
I think the one time I actually snapped on somebody in a store was because I was walking in flip-flops since I live in a beach town, and someone ran their fucking heel. Like my cart all the way up my fucking heel, dude. And I mean, ripped the whole skin of it. Like, it was bleeding like bad. And I'm not the type that uses a Band-Aid. So I'm fucking walking and my foot's just bleeding every time I take a step. And I'm like, they're going to fucking be able to track me from my bloody footprint all the way to the murder scene in your fucking minivan because you just hit me in the back of the fucking cart, dude. But this person, like, they're looking at their phone and they looked at me like I was the one that was in the wrong. Like, why'd you stop? I was like, why did I?
Yep.
Do you not notice the line of fucking people in front of me? You're not looking up from your device. And it's like, I think maybe grocery stores, no wonder there's always accounts of someone getting shot in a grocery. That's why the baby killed somebody in a fucking Walmart. There's that aggression that happens. You don't know. You just want to slam somebody's head under this price scanner. Like, fucking scan this.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I hate grocery stores. Just, common decency and using manners. People don't do that anymore. I still hold doors open for people. I'll say, excuse me. People hit you now in a grocery store and just look at you like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Good Lord, how do you tie your fucking shoes?
That's why I do everything super early in the morning. I will not go out in the middle of the day to go get groceries. I have to go first thing in the morning because I think I got home around like 8 in the morning yesterday after doing a couple hours of cardio. And I was just fucking like, I'm going to go to the store and get some of my stuff. I might get some canvases to paint again because I was like, I don't have any canvases. So that means I'm done painting. The hobby's fucking out the window. I'm done with that. But I went to a Dollar Tree. I was like, all right, I'm going to get some toothpaste. I'm going to get some mouthwash. I'm going to do all this type of stuff. It's cheap there. It's $1. I'm leaving and I see somebody like about to walk into the store. I was like, well, I'll go out before them. I'll speed up a little bit, go out before them, and I'll hold the door open for them. As I'm going out the door, they are also walking in. Instead of using the other door, they walked in. And I mean, I had to move like this to, like, if you're going to inch by an aisle, and the person just walked right, like try to walk through me. And I was like, what? And then the person behind them was like, oh, thank you, sir. I was like, you're fucking welcome. Like, I was just, you're normal, but that person's not.
That person's an asshole.
Yeah.
I was going to drop the C word again just to mess with you.
She had that lemon style haircut, like the Judge Judy hair.
Yeah. Nah, you can tell whenever you look at someone. I don't care what you say. You can. You look at someone, you're like, that person. Nah, that person.
That's why there's a word Karen, and I don't think anybody's ever going to name their kids Karen after that.
No, I met another Karen, like a legit Karen. Friend of ours was like, "This is my friend Karen," and I was like, "And that's the last word I'll be saying tonight. Don't
I've
want you to speak to my manager."
I've met one, and she's been on my show a couple of times. She's very, very nice. I was like, I'm sorry about your name. She's like, yeah, it does suck, doesn't it? And I was like, yeah, but it's there's a look. There's the look of like the black rim glasses, and then like
Yeah,
the flat bowl bang haircut, and it looks like a lampshade. And it's like I've every there the one in my third grade teacher, she had that haircut. Not my new my last one, but I had two third grade teachers that switched schools because the one was putting me in this back before they knew what mentally challenged was. They didn't know what ADHD was, so they thought that
yeah.
was mentally challenged. She was the one that always sent me out of class to get me locked into a room with no fucking windows, only a door, and it's in a white room. They forgot about me one time, forgot to give me lunch, and they were like, at the end of the day, they're like, "Oh my god, we forgot about him." They gave me a lunch tray, like, "Hey, don't tell your parents about this." And I didn't fucking remember it until like later towards my high school years. I was like, "Oh my god, that did fucking happen."
God. Yeah. I'm so glad we're not in school anymore, though. I couldn't imagine going through school nowadays. See those World Star videos and stuff, and kids just beating the shit out of each other too. God,
I think it was always like that. I just don't think
it was.
they don't have the technology to record back then.
Yeah, I don't. It just seems more violent now. Like I got in fights, but like I never tried to stomp on someone's head. Like you can mess them up permanently if you stomp on their head.
See, I don't know how it might just be foreign to you, but it's not foreign to me. Because my town, I didn't realize I was doing a murder podcast with a buddy of mine. He was like, I want you to do my show. He's like, think of a murder from your town and come on my show and talk about it. I was like, all right, sure. And I started looking up, dude. There's been some fucking horrors that have happened in this fucking town. And we were trending, I think, 3 times during this past couple of months. One was for 4th of July. We had a firework truck explode way before the fireworks supposed to go off. And I was like, did someone die? They're like, nobody was injured. Thank God. And I was like, damn it. I kind of want to see like an arm like on the ground. Yeah.
Yep.
But then we were trending twice for cop issues, and people are like, "This is what's wrong with the police. Fuck the police. Ocean City's trash." And I'm like, first of all, it was a kid getting tasered. The kid apparently threw one of the cops' bikes because the cop was like a younger kid, same age as the guy. And then the cop tasered him. Like, probably should have been a little bit like, "Hey, talk to the kid," rather than just fucking taser him. But then people took that video and then they have another video of him kneeing from a different angle, kneeing him in the head. Dude, the time of day was different. One was
Yeah.
like first thing in the morning. The other one was like right in the afternoon, like the sun was down and there's like a whole fucking different person on the ground, but nobody noticed that. They were just like, fuck it, it's the police. They're terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I started looking through my town. The worst incidents we ever had was it was a 60 Minutes episode. A couple from Virginia met a couple at Secrets where a family member of mine works, and went back to like a hotel room. They dismembered that couple and then fucking dropped their body parts all around town in different trash bags. And it was a 60 Minutes episode. It's like our most famous one. But then I remember doing jet skis, and every single summer there was someone that got killed by a boat. Like they would get chopped up by a boat. One girl fell asleep on the beach drunk, and one of the sand beachcombers, the one with the giant rakes, ran her over, and they found her fucking arm sticking out of the sand. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't like it's because I was thinking about this because I wanted to move, and I was like, I could never imagine like going to fucking Michigan or going to Texas and trying to survive there. I don't think I would fit in because I'm a beach guy. So it's like trying to fit in Texas. Everyone's got guns. I'm like, oh my God, this is so fucking nuts to me. But then I started to look, I was like, wait a minute. I think this has all became normal to me because as crazy as it sounds to everybody else, I'm like, yeah, we're used to people getting drunk on their fucking boat on the lake and killing somebody. Like, that's just fucking normal. It's like Dick Cheney shooting somebody in the head hunting quail. Like, it's fucking normal.
That Dick Cheney shot. Yeah. Side of the face with a shotgun. Yeah. That would suck. Get peppered right on the side of the face.
And quail are like a foot fucking tall. So you got to punt that fucker in the air and then shoot hit someone in the face. Like that's like the campaign where Will Ferrell just gets shot in the leg with an arrow. The dude just gets out of his car and shoots him right with a crossbow.
Yep. Oh man.
I prefer that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would probably prefer that.
I just wish you knew who the evil was. Like, it's so crazy now to see. Like, there's an old video that I have to send you, resurfaced a couple of times I've mentioned, but it's Kerry Mullis. And he's the guy who invented the PCR test. Well, there's an interview of him from 1993 talking about Fauci. And he was like, I don't trust a fucking word that guy says. He doesn't know shit about science. He's a fucking mouthpiece that reiterates. And everything he says about the Eco Health Alliance, Peter Daszak, all these people that are getting in trouble now, he said in 1993 during the AIDS pandemic. And it's like a 2-hour video. And it's so fucking eerie because it's just him wearing like a Rainforest Cafe shirt. He's just normal in his house on a wood chair like your grandparents would have in their house. He's
Yeah.
just sitting there fucking talking about science. He goes, people don't care about what you say. Even if you're a scientist, my mother does not trust anything I say about her health issues because I'm her son. I can never be a scientist to her. I'm her son, but she'll trust her doctor who tells her that she can rub tomato juice on her fucking skin. And it's like, you start like listening to this and everything he said has came true today, where it's like, fuck, man, like back in 1993, he's talking about how all these corporations had money funding by these corporations. And then now we're seeing it on the TV now. And he died right before the pandemic.
History repeats itself.
Like, it's fucking nuts to me where I'm like, this is like if there are aliens watching us right now, if there is a fucking a spirit dimension where our ancestors are watching us, they must be enjoying a shit ton of popcorn watching this fucking crazy ass
Yep.
reality television show go down.
They do, man. If they're watching, it's like, man, look at this shit show. It's like how you watch reality TV shows and you're like, these people are just fucking nuts. That's what they're doing. We're their reality TV show.
I think because 5 years ago or 10 years ago, like when Jersey Shore first started popping off, it was crazy to see someone get drunk on the middle of the beach. Then that became normal. And then it was crazy to see someone jump on top of a car and take a hat rack and start bashing in someone's windshield. Then that became normal. Now
Yep.
it's like there's psychopaths that my fucking neighbor, for instance, part of the reason probably why I have a headache is he has a new dog. And I think it's like 4 months old now. And it's not a young dog. It's like a probably 2-year, 3-year-old dog, but he's only had it for 4 months and it's a pit bull. And all it does is bark its fucking ass off at 9 o'clock at night. It did it from 9:30 last night till 1 a.m. to the point where I opened up my back window and I was about to take my airsoft gun and fucking light this dog up in the foot, dude. Not the head, just the foot, or shoot near it to where it freaks it out. But then he brought his dog inside. But like everyone in the whole neighborhood has walked over and been like, dude, shut your fucking dog up. How are you able to leave your dog outside
Yep.
and let it bark like that? It's like kids that whine in a store and the mother just walks away. Like, get them the fuck out of the store, man.
Yep. I agree, man. There's nothing worse. Like here in Texas, you can go to a brewery, which it's a bar, but it's not, right? They just serve beer and it's like a tasting room. Since it's not a 51% establishment and they don't sell hard liquor, you can bring your kids in with you.
What?
So if you go to a brewery here, like on a weekend, there's more fucking kids than there are adults of age to drink. And you're talking 4 or 5-year-olds, and it's just mommy and daddy sitting at a table getting fucking wasted, letting their kids run around. It's like, so this is normal now.
I would like 3 kids. If I was going to have kids, I'd want 3. But then I see like there's a guy that comes to my gym and he has 7 and they're all like under the age. I think he's got a set of twins. Then he's got like a 7-year-old. Then he's got like every year he had a kid. And I was like, how the fuck do you do it, man? And he's just at this moment where like you see that he has nothing left inside of his body.
Oh, yeah.
Like just soul wise. But the dude is ripped. Like he's just like, I go to the gym every day, but he drops him off at the free healthcare for like, or healthcare, daycare for 2 hours. And I'm just looking at him. I'm like, man, you look like you're beaten and broken. I'm like, and where's your wife? And he goes, she's a stay-at-home mom. And I'm like, what do
Why
you
aren't
do
the kids
for a
with her?
living? He's like, I own a corporation. I'm like, what corporation? He goes, it's like some electric company or something like that. And I'm like, do you ever get to like be home? And he goes, yeah, but I try to go to the office as much as I can. And I was like, I fucking bet.
Yep. The gym is his only time to himself. That's why he's jacked.
I always fucking remember when I used to run outside when or I'll look through my window and see my dad pull up in the driveway. I'm like, Dad's home. He's been gone all day. And I'm like fucking losing my shit. And then fucking, I mean, I had to be at 5 or 6. So it's a normal thing to do. I wasn't like an idiot or anything like that. But then I would wait at the door and I'd be like, where's Dad at? And I know he was sitting in his fucking car like listening to the radio, like I don't want to go inside.
Yep, finally a moment.
Me and my brother beating the shit out of each other, and then all the fights are going. And that's a past guest of mine, Casper, a good friend. He told me, he goes, you know why like dads were always upset when they would like, they'd have to lay down the law when they get home because a bunch of shit would happen. He goes, when I was a kid, I would do something bad and my mom would say, wait till your dad gets home. Then my dad would get home like, hey everyone, happy to see me, and we were all afraid of him. So every day he came home to that, and it's like, oh my god, yeah, you're reliant to be the law. And I'm like, I'm so happy. Like, I'll be a stay-at-home dad. And I'll be like, wait till fucking mom gets home. She's gonna beat you,
Yep.
and then I get the good type of beating. Like, I'm fucking happy about that.
Yeah. Man, that would be the dream. See, that's why we need money, so we can just retire and be stay-at-home people.
I think you would. I don't want to be the retired though, where I spend like all day golfing.
No,
I can't.
I'd be going to the gym and stuff, but
Yeah. We have
maybe work a little bit.
We have retired people at my work that just they spend 6 hours in the gym, but all they do is talk, and I fucking hate that. I'm like, work out, get ripped or something.
We have a couple that's like that. They're there 2-3 hours a day, and you see them walk in, and then you do your workout, you shower. I know you don't shower at the gym. Workout, shower.
Never.
You go to leave 2 hours later, and they're still standing at the same piece of equipment, just talking to people. Haven't put their gym bag down, and then like they'll go to a machine, they'll get it all set up, then they just stand there and talk for another hour, and then they take their shit from that same machine that they didn't even use. They'll go to another machine. Like, so you're not even working out. You're just taking a machine for an hour, so you can talk and wave to people who who are in the gym. But the dad is ripped, so he must go twice a day, because when he's with his wife there, they don't touch a fucking weight. So he must go like twice a day. He must go in the morning to get a workout in and take his wife there so she can look like she goes to the gym.
Well, like there's a guy this morning, all he does every time he comes in, he just talks to people. And then he's gone 3 minutes later. All right. And he goes, see you later, buddy. But like I said, I had that space issue. So if I'm doing like, I left after doing my bench press and all that chest workouts, went into the fucking, but it's cool though. Cause I have a older guy. He's got a couple of kids, but he's a really jacked dude. And he put 3 45s on each side on top of on the shoulder press thing. And he goes, he like messing around with me. You want to try it? I'm like, I'll fucking try it. I'll give it a go. And he's like, how many bangs are you on right now? I'm like, I've had 3. He goes, Jesus, dude. He's like, the gym just opened up like an hour ago. I was like, I know. This is how I get my workout in.
I'm ready.
Off with 3. And they don't give me an energy. It just tastes good. And I'll go on the shoulder press thing, and I go to do the thing on the 3 plates on each side. I'm like, I can't even get it the fuck up, man. And he goes, here, let me help you. And I'm like, I can't do it, dude. He puts his thing on there to lift right when I do it. And then as soon as I get to the top and do the first one, he lets go of it. And he goes, now go down and go back up. Then I could do it. I could do it once it was up like that. I was like getting this, like I felt like my arms were about to snap, and then I let go of it. I was like, I got a shit and my head hurts. I was like done, dude. I was like, I gotta go back.
Yep. Man, yeah, that eccentric movement's a lot easier. Then you can hit that concentric movement. It helps a lot whenever you start from the top. I've done that. It's kind of why bench is easier too. It's because once you unrack it and it comes down, then you go back up. It's a little easier. I try not to start my sets from the top, but man, it's like a cheat rep. So I'll end up doing like 13 instead of 12. Just because I don't want to count it, but I count it.
I went from like when I was doing a 24-hour place, I was like, I mean, this is before the pandemic and it shut down and then it closed for good. But I was doing a 45 and then at least 35 on each side. So it was around probably around 80 pounds on each side. And then that's like, I'm only 130. But I remember that was my max. And then I remember ripping my whole part of my chest. And then I would take electrical tape and wrap my arm to my chest so I didn't have to worry about moving my arm. And the next day I was in the gym fucking doing the same shit. And it's wrecked my whole chest. So I can't go all the way back down. But I've been just practicing I try and do at least 10 reps of each thing that I do, but I try and do 110 reps. So I always try and do like crank them out. So I've only worked my way up to like a 45 now. And then I did a 45 and 25 this morning and I felt fucking good, dude. I was like, yes, it's what I fucking like. But the bars on the bench are different. This one's super smooth and it feels like someone put lotion on it. So I would go to bench and this motherfucker would feel like it's about to slip out of your hands. I'm like, I'm going to get 6 or 70 pounds right to my teeth, man. Like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I like them when there's a lot of grip on there. I like that where you have the indention on your hand when you're done.
I don't like it when it's like I like equipment like people are like, oh, I want brand new equipment. I'm like, I like it when it's a little bit used already, like when it's a little bit worn. Like I don't, it's like kind of like riding a roller coaster. I don't mind when you get that fucking, you wait 3 hours for a roller coaster seat to pop up, and then it pops up, the seat's all ripped, and then the bar's kind of rusty. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna get in it anyway and enjoy the loop de loop. You know what I mean? Like that's what I like.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. The old school gym equipment too. Like we have a couple like hardcore gyms here where it's those old rusty plates. It's outdoors. Those are always heavier. I don't care what anyone says. Those old cast iron 45-pound plates are way heavier than those rubber ones.
Those fucking bumper ones are bullshit, man. You grab it, it's like, is this 45? Like, I don't feel like it's 45. I found out how those influencers do it now, where they have like 5 45s on each side. If you look at them, they say 10. They say fucking 10 on them. And I'm like, you're a piece of shit. You're a liar.
Make you feel bad about what you're lifting, and then you're like, okay, you're not even lifting as much as me.
There's one person out there that's probably trying to kill themselves doing 4 plates on each side because they're bigger than you.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I like those old school gyms though. I go to LA Fitness though, so it's all pretty new, and
they have those everywhere, don't they?
Yeah. The one that I go to was just built whenever I joined that gym. I used to go to Gold's, then I switched to LA Fitness in like 2019. And it was brand new. Like it hadn't even been open a week. So I've gone there ever since. Same people.
They're good for the basics, but if you want like more advanced shit, you got to go somewhere else. Like I always tell older people, like every older person that comes in the gym, they're like, yeah, I have an LA Fitness where I live. And I'm like, yeah, because if they're great, if you're just going to do cardio and do all those other shit, because that's all they have there. It's like, but when you're trying to get like real steel cables and do all that type of stuff, like the heavy expert lifting, which there's not even really a need for that. You could still get ripped using the basic shit anyway.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically just compound movements right now. You know, bench, squat, deadlift is where I'm at. I'll do a couple specialized days, but come like January, whenever I get used to lifting again, it'll be a lot more in depth, and I'll probably switch to LA Fitness and one of the hardcore gyms. Work pays for my gym, so I can afford to pick one up on my own too.
That's good. I was I lift to stay aesthetically, you know, without my sweater on. I'm pretty ripped, so I like to keep that. But people that go like, oh, I want to be bodybuilder size, or I want to be powerlifter. I want to go to like 10,000 pounds on each side. I'm like, dude, I don't want to fucking hurt myself, man.
I just want to look good naked.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
That is
you keep the belly down and everything else looks bigger.
As long as you can see your dick.
Yep, pretty much. If I look down, I got to be able to see it. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Still there,
huh? Mark, I appreciate you doing the podcast again, brother, man.
Definitely, man. And we'll do it again if it's still going strong, man. Christmas time, I'll have my eggnog here, maybe some alcohol in it.
I'll put a poll out. We'll see what the people say in a poll.
Okay. They're going to say, don't bring that guy back.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm banking on that.
He dropped the C word. You don't like him. They're going to cancel me now. I'm going to get canceled. Oh, no.
Oh, you've already been on. It's the best part about not being canceled is the fact that you have to have a show to cancel.
Yep. What are they going to cancel of mine? My gym membership?
Ooh, that would hurt me probably more than anything if anybody canceled my gym membership. Like, fuck.
I would just go into the hardcore gyms where they don't give a fuck.
I'd go find that person that drives that minivan that almost hit me and fucking.
Yep.
Murder. Well, Mark, where can people find your links?
I have none at this time. After this last year, I kind of shut everything down after my dad passed in July. So I'm just getting everything back up and running.
So we can say Sauce and is that
Sauce and Tails? Yeah, Sauce and Tails is around. Got to get back to making sauces. Unfortunately, I got to find out if I can have them for my ulcers. But
get that checked, man. You can't just speculate.
I will get that checked probably within the next month. But yeah, Sauce and Tails is still up and running, and from there we'll just keep putting out content, bro. That's what we got to do.
Consistency is key.
Consistency is key. I'm gonna end up getting you on some TikTok videos.
I'd love to be on fucking TikTok, but I don't want to deal with the shit that goes with that.
I know, man. That's why I'm not on it.
I made one TikTok, I think, just to claim the profile, but it was a guy at my work and he was doing the cable crosses, but he would
Yep.
only go like a chicken and it's just the chicken dance.
Oh no 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 no.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
God, put the music with it.
I did. It
Yeah,
looks fucking great, man. I
I'll have to
told him
check it
about it
out.
too, so it's not like I did it on like he doesn't know about it. I was like, I did this, and he's like, dude, you got to post that. I was like, okay, I'll post it.
Oh hell yeah, that's hilarious.
So I have consent.
There you go. Consent is key.
Consent is key, and so is consistency. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Out of the Blank. Stay tuned for our next episode.